How many of you wake up in the morning and immediately start thinking critical thoughts about yourselves? You look in the mirror and the negative self-talk begins, I'm not good enough, I'll never achieve my goals, I don't have what it takes to be successful. If this sounds like you, I want you to stop that kind of thinking right now. You're sabotaging yourself before you even get started each day. Instead, you need to learn to appreciate yourself for the unique, gifted, talented, and amazing person that you are. When you truly appreciate yourself, you give yourself permission to live up to your incredible potential. But too many people have been conditioned to think negatively about themselves from an early age. Maybe you had overly critical parents or teachers who planted those seeds of self-doubt and insecurity. Maybe you grew up in a culture that values modesty and humility over self-confidence and belief in your own abilities. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's time to unlearn those negative thoughts and feelings about yourself. You owe it to yourself and to those who depend on your success to shift into an attitude of radical self-appreciation. When you appreciate yourself fully, you give yourself the gift of being able to appreciate others as well. How can you possibly appreciate the talents and efforts of those around you if you can't even see the incredible gifts you possess yourself? Let me ask you this. If you had $1 million in the bank and for some crazy reason you didn't know about it, would that $1 million be able to do anything for you? Of course not. You'd still be going about your life, struggling to make ends meet, stressing over bills, never taking advantage of the incredible abundance that's just sitting there untouched. It might as well not even exist if you don't know about it and appreciate that it's yours. Well, that's the situation so many of you are in right now when it comes to appreciating yourselves. You are incredible wealth creation machines. You have a mind that is capable of developing million-dollar ideas. You have a heart that can radiate the kind of infectious energy that inspires everyone around you to rise up. You have talents and skills that are incredibly valuable in this world, and yet you move through life tragically unaware of your own amazing worth. Isn't it time you got to know and appreciate the incredible person you really are? Wouldn't it be life-changing to fully embrace and take ownership of your talents instead of discounting them or assuming everyone else has been blessed with similar gifts? The greatest achievers and innovators in this world don't think the way you may be thinking about yourselves. They wake up every morning with the ability to clearly see their own self-worth. That mindset of radical self-appreciation is what fuels them to take chances, be bold, and ultimately change the world around them. So how do you get to that place of fully appreciating yourself? It starts with consciously deciding that today is the day you're going to leave behind the negative self-talk and self-doubt. Whenever you catch yourself thinking or saying something critical about your abilities, skills, or efforts, you have to immediately cancel that thought. Visualize a big stop sign and refuse to let that unhelpful, destructive thinking take root in your mind any longer. Instead, make the conscious choice to replace those negative thoughts with positive reminders of your worth. Maybe it's reciting your achievements out loud. Maybe it's making a list of all the things you're actually really good at. Maybe it's watching inspiring videos of people who overcame incredible odds through self-belief. Whatever it takes, you have to crowdsource reasons to feel proud of yourself and optimistic about your potential. Part of appreciating yourself is being able to look back at how far you've already come. We all tend to be so focused on where we have left to go that we minimize or completely overlook the obstacles we've already conquered. Take some time today to reflect on everything you've already pushed through and achieved in your life so far. If you're truly honest with yourselves, I think you'll be amazed at the mental toughness, resilience, persistence, and courage you've already demonstrated to get to this point. Remind yourselves that the same abilities that got you through past challenges and adversities will be there for you going forward. Appreciating yourself also means letting go of the unhealthy and unrealistic expectation of perfection. So many of you beat yourselves up constantly because you've bought into this idea that you need to be perfect in order to be impressive or successful. You focus so much on your flaws and faults that you completely lose sight of everything you do well. But here's a little secret. Being human means being imperfect. Every single person you admire is imperfect. They just don't let their imperfections stop them from taking risks, putting themselves out there, and working to make their dreams happen. The greatest gift you can give yourself is to let go of your need for perfection, and instead focus on making progress one day at a time. Appreciate the efforts you're making rather than the destination you've envisioned. Fall in love with the person you're continually evolving into, imperfections and all. Because it's those imperfections that make you relatable and human. They give you character and relatability. And if you can learn to appreciate yourself at this imperfect phase of your personal journey, imagine how powerful your self-appreciation will be when you've elevated yourself even further. At the end of the day, everything you want to achieve in this world starts with your ability to wholeheartedly appreciate yourself exactly as you are right now. When you pour love and belief into yourself, you'll cultivate the self-confidence and courage to go after your biggest goals. You'll find it easier to see solutions instead of obstacles in your way. You'll be able to persist through challenges and setbacks because you'll believe in your core ability to figure things out. Opportunity will seem to gravitate towards you because you'll be operating with the positive, upbeat energy of someone who expects good things to happen. So don't wake up tomorrow and start beating yourself up over all the things you think you're lacking or all the ways you've fallen short of your own expectations. Wake up tomorrow and truly appreciate the gifted, brilliant, one-of-a-kind person that you are right now in this moment. Because when you master the art of appreciating yourself fully, you'll finally start living up to your incredible potential in ways you can't even yet imagine. The world is waiting for the talents you have to offer, but only you can unlock them by believing you're worth it. I know what some of you might be thinking. Jim, this all sounds great in theory, but how can I actually start practicing real self-appreciation in my daily life? I get it. We're so conditioned to be self-critical that learning to appreciate ourselves fully can feel unnatural at first. But I'm here to tell you, it's one of the most important skills you'll ever develop. The first step is to become aware of that negative inner voice that loves to beat you down and tear you apart. You know the one I'm talking about? That little nagging voice that says you're not good enough, you'll never achieve your dreams, you don't have what it takes. That voice has been your constant companion for so long that you've gotten used to just believing everything it says without questioning it. But here's the truth. That negative internal chatter is nothing more than self-limiting fear disguised as facts about your identity and potential. And fears are just thoughts. They're not objective truths about you or your circumstances. So stop treating that negative self-talk like the voice of reason or wisdom. It's exactly the opposite. Instead, I want you to start consciously talking back to that negative inner critic. When it starts piping up and planting seeds of self-doubt, I want you to ask yourself, is this thought really true and factual, or is it just fear trying to hold me back? Because 9 times out of 10, it's your fears doing the talking, not an objective evaluator of your skills and potential. And then go one step further, replace that negative, fearful thought with a positive self-appreciating statement that is rooted in truth about your abilities and journey so far. If the negative thought is, I'm terrible at public speaking and I'll never be good at it, cancel the thinking and replace it with, I'm making progress every day at improving my public speaking abilities, and my clients have already complimented the positive changes they've seen. Or if the negative thought is, this project is too big for me to handle, I don't have what it takes, replace that with, I've successfully completed major projects before, and the same skills, determination, and creativity that saw me through then will serve me again now. Making that mental shift from listening to your fears to amplifying the truth about your talents and capabilities is critically important, because that negative inner voice wants you to stay small and play it safe. It wants you to appreciate your flaws and inabilities because then you'll never risk anything in life. But your positive, self-appreciating inner voice wants you to succeed beyond your wildest dreams. It's trying to motivate you to embrace your strengths and talents so you can use them to their full potential. So who are you going to listen to? The negative, self-sabotaging voice that wants to keep you comfortably trapped in fear and inertia? Or the uplifting, encouraging voice that wants to propel you into confidence, growth, and incredible achievements? The choice really is yours. When you start making a habit of canceling out those negative thoughts and replacing them with sincere self-appreciation, it's amazing how quickly your motivation and self-belief start to be rebuilt and reinforced. You'll start feeling that contagious energy and enthusiasm that allows you to pursue your goals with a totally new sense of optimism and vigor. Self-appreciation is one of those self-perpetuating mindsets. The more you practice it, the more evidence you'll start to see of your abilities and potential. And the more you start achieving, the easier it becomes to respect and appreciate yourself because you're proving your talents through real results. But it all starts with making that conscious decision to shift your focus away from insecurity and self-criticism and towards reminding yourself of all the impressive skills, gifts, and accomplishments you've demonstrated so far in your life's journey. Stop focusing on where you think you fall short and start meditating on all the ways you've already proven yourself capable, resilient, and talented. Let me give you an example of how powerful this can be. I'm sure we all know someone who has achieved extraordinary levels of success and seemed to radiate unshakable confidence. Maybe it was an entrepreneur who built a massive business empire, or a professional athlete at the peak of their career, or a famous artist, inventor, or creative genius. Now, we look at the stratospheric level of success that person reached, and we assume they must have been blessed with some sort of superhuman self-belief and confidence from day one. But here's the thing, that person once started off at a similar point of struggle and insecurity that we're all familiar with. The difference is, at some point, they made a profound inner shift to start identifying, owning, and appreciating the talents and abilities they had inside themselves. They made the conscious choice to take full ownership of their gifts rather than discounting them or assuming they were commonplace. And then they made the daily choice to keep reminding themselves of those talents through consistent self-appreciation. And it was that self-perpetuating cycle of believing in themselves that ultimately gave them the fuel to manifest their incredible successes. So if others can achieve that elevated level of self-appreciation and use it to unleash their fullest powers, you can do it too. You have just as much potential for greatness inside of you. You have skills, talents, abilities, and gifts that are unique to only you. And the degree to which you own and appreciate those talents is the degree to which you'll be able to maximize them and leverage them into success and fulfillment. When you appreciate yourself fully, you give yourself permission to dream bigger. You give yourself the courage to take chances that once seemed too risky. You give yourself the grit and determination to persist through obstacles because you deeply believe in your ability to figure things out. You start showing up in life as your biggest, boldest, most authentic self. And that's incredibly powerful and inspiring to everyone around you. So let this be the day you make that profound inner shift to start appreciating yourself at the deepest level. Decide right now that you're no longer going to be an accomplice to the negative, self-sabotaging thoughts holding you back. Decide that from this point forward, you're going to be intentional about reminding yourself of all the reasons you're an amazing person with incredible gifts to offer this world. Because when you operate from that space of radical self-love and self-appreciation, you give yourselves access to the best version of who you are. You start showing up differently in your business, your relationships, your personal goals. You start showing up as someone who unapologetically owns their talents and skills, rather than making excuses for them. You become magnetic to the kinds of opportunities and successes you used to think were only possible for other people. My friends, you were put on this earth for a reason. You have an important contribution to make that only you uniquely can. but you'll never be able to access the full depth of your talents, abilities, and potential until you get out of your own way, until you stop listening to the negative self-doubting voices and start focusing on a steady stream of heartfelt self-appreciation. So if you're ready to finally start making that shift, if you're ready to move past playing small and tentative and start living with bold confidence in yourself, let today be the first day of your journey. Don't wait another second to start waking up to the remarkable person you already are and giving yourself the gift of fully appreciating those gifts. Your self-appreciation will be your launch pad to start living the biggest, most extraordinary life you can envision for yourself. Because at the end of the day, the greatest achievers, the most impactful leaders, the happiest and most fulfilled people are all united by one thing: an unwavering ability to appreciate themselves at the deepest level. Will you choose to join their ranks and finally unlock your fullest potential? The choice is yours, but I truly hope you make the decision to appreciate the incredible person you are today. You've got this. I think it's important to address one of the biggest mental roadblocks that often prevents people from embracing true self-appreciation. There's this pervasive idea out there that appreciating yourself fully is somehow arrogant or conceited. That if you start talking positively about your talents and abilities, you'll come across as boastful or egotistical. But I'm here to tell you that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, having a lack of self-appreciation is far more arrogant than confidently owning your talents and skills. Let me explain what I mean by that. When you constantly diminish or deny the gifts you've been blessed with, you're essentially saying that you know better than the Creator who bestowed those talents upon you. It's an arrogant stance that says, yeah, I have all these amazing abilities, but they're not really that impressive or worth appreciating. Think about that for a second. You're creating abilities that shape the entire reality we experience as human beings. You designed the biological intricacies of the human body and all its incredible functions. You encoded the mathematical laws and principles that govern the entire cosmos. You sculpted towering mountain ranges, vast unexplored oceans, and stellar superclusters of epic proportions, and you chose to gift a portion of that unfathomable creative genius to each of us in the form of our unique talents and capabilities. Yet so many of us arrogantly dismiss and diminish those divine gifts that have been entrusted to us, as if we have a higher intelligence and authority than the Creator, that we can decide our talents aren't really that impressive or worth appreciating. Can you see how egotistical and conceited that mindset is? We're essentially saying, yeah, I've got all these abilities that are infused with genius far beyond my own comprehension, but they're not really that special, and I don't need to fully appreciate them. It's the height of arrogance. The truly humble stance is to look at the incredible skills you've been blessed with and say, wow, these talents are awesome, and I'm going to fully appreciate them out of deep gratitude and respect for the genius that created them within me. That is the mindset of humility, of recognizing that your gifts have been divinely bestowed upon you, and you owe it to their Creator to steward them with utmost care, appreciation, and reverence. When you appreciate yourself and your talents to the fullest, you're honoring the sacred wisdom and benevolent creativity that chose to bless you with those remarkable abilities. You're essentially saying, I respect the process and the genius behind these gifts enough to make the most of them and not let them go to waste. On the flip side, not appreciating your talents and skills is like receiving an incredibly generous gift from someone and then treating it like it's nothing special. It's disrespectful to the giver and their generosity. It's the height of self-important arrogance to decide that you somehow know better than the greatest creator in the cosmos, and that your talents aren't really worth nurturing and appreciating. So I want you to permanently get rid of this idea that confident self-appreciation is arrogant or big-headed. Just the opposite is true. When you unapologetically own and take pride in your skills and abilities, you're operating from a stance of humility and respect for the divine process that fashioned those gifts within you. True arrogance is deciding that those incredibly purposeful talents don't actually deserve your full gratitude, nourishment, and appreciation. By not appreciating yourself, you're essentially overriding and second-guessing the wisdom that your very existence is imbued with. Talk about arrogant. Please, I'm begging you, don't make that spiritually arrogant mistake any longer. Don't arrogantly dismiss your gifts out of some sense of false humility. True humility lies in respecting yourself and your talents enough to steward them with full care, nurturing, and appreciation. True humility recognizes that you are not the source of your talents. You are simply the blessed vessel that has been entrusted with them. So honor the divine trust by giving your abilities the nurturing appreciation they deserve. Don't take them for granted or assume they're nothing special. Recognize them for the sacred gifts that they are. And then show your utmost gratitude and humility by pouring your energy into fully developing and maximizing those gifts through radical self-appreciation. Because appreciating yourself to the fullest capacity is the only way to reach your fullest potential and live your life's highest purpose and mission. As long as you keep dismissing and diminishing your talents, you'll be living an arrogant, spiritually defiant stance that your gifts aren't worth nurturing. But the second you start giving your abilities the full appreciation and care they deserve, you'll be honoring the divine wisdom behind their existence with utmost humility and respect. So I'll ask you again, are you going to keep arrogantly insisting that you know better than the greatest creator in the cosmos? That your abilities and talents don't deserve your full awareness, care, and appreciation? Or are you going to adopt the truly humble mindset of being in awe and reverence for the gifts you've been blessed with, and show your utmost gratitude by appreciating them wholeheartedly? The choice is yours, but I caution you, don't let misplaced ideas about humility and arrogance keep you from unleashing your fullest potential, because at the end of the day, the most arrogant and disrespectful stance you can take is to not appreciate the divine genius that has been entrusted to you through your remarkable talents and abilities. Step into the humble self appreciation you were destined for. The choice is yours. But I caution you, don't let misplaced ideas about humility and arrogance keep you from unleashing your fullest potential. Because at the end of the day, the most arrogant and disrespectful stance you can take is to not appreciate the divine genius that has been entrusted to you through your remarkable talents and abilities. Step into the humble self appreciation you are destined for. Let me be very clear about this. Downplaying or dismissing the gifts you've been blessed with is an act of egotistical arrogance. It's you essentially saying the talents I've been given aren't really that extraordinary or worthy of my full care and attention, as if you have some higher wisdom and authority than the greatest creative force in the universe that purposefully imbued you with those unique abilities. True humility walks hand in hand with radical self-appreciation. Because when you wholeheartedly appreciate yourself and your talents, you're exercising humble reverence for the sacred wisdom that fashioned those gifts within you. You're honoring the divinely orchestrated process that made you wonderfully talented in your own special. It would be the height of arrogance to look at your incredible skills and dismiss them as being commonplace or insignificant, as if you could somehow improve upon the genius-level design that allowed your unique strengths to manifest within you. Any lack of self-appreciation is an affirmation of your own deluded arrogance. A hubristic stance that you know better than the master creator of your talents. So I'm calling on you today to permanently banish that arrogant, self-sabotaging mindset of dismissing your gifts. It's an insult to the divine process you emerged from. It's spiritually arrogant to treat the talents you've been blessed with as unimportant or unworthy of your devotion. Humility lies in studying yourself with profound awe and appreciation, marveling at the unique handiwork of a sacred intelligence that created your incredible abilities. Being struck with wonder and gratitude that such wisdom took the time and care to purposefully encode your one-of-a-kind mix of skills, gifts, and potential within your very DNA. And then from that place of humility, saying these talents are far too precious and purposefully designed for me to neglect or dismiss them any longer. I'm going to nurture and steward these gifts with the utmost care, respect, and daily appreciation they deserve. When you decide to fully embrace that level of self-appreciation, you're honoring the humble, reverential place you were designed to reside at. You're tapping into alignment with your highest calling to use your unique talents in service of something greater than yourself, to unleash the fullest expression of the divine creativity that birthed you into existence. Anything else is arrogance disguised as humility. The person who downplays their gifts out of some skewed perception of staying humble is being misguided by their own ego, not honoring true humility. So let me ask you again, which path will you choose? One of arrogantly dismissing and minimizing the special talents you've been entrusted with, essentially overriding your own humble design? Or one of embracing deep self-appreciation and all for the magic that conspired to gift you with your unique genius? The choice is yours, but I sincerely hope you'll commit to anchoring into real humility by recognizing and nurturing those sacred talents within yourself every single day. Because that consistent practice of self-appreciation is the only way you'll unleash the fullest amplification of the divine wisdom that created you. When you operate from that place of genuine humility intertwined with radical self-love and self-appreciation, you align with your highest purpose. You start experiencing guideposts that affirm you're flowing in the direction you were destined to move towards. Synchronistic events and chance encounters seem to materialize that provide momentum for your journey. Doors open with apparent orchestration behind them. It's as if you tune into the same resonant creative frequency that originates your talents. And from that aligned place, you start co-creating your reality in partnership with those same intelligent forces. Your humble self-appreciation becomes a spiritual instrument that attracts and magnetizes to you all the forces, resources, relationships, and circumstances required for you to blossom into your highest expression. This is the promise and power of true humility, wed with consistent self-appreciation, of getting over yourself and your egoic uncertainty, and instead rooting into the humble reverence of aligning with the divine genius that formed you in its image. When you do that, you start operating from that higher wisdom, rather than the arrogant delusions of your self-limiting fears and insecurities. So many of history's most impactful leaders, innovators, and influential figures tapped into this synergy of radical humility combined with radical self-appreciation. They stopped looking at their talents with arrogant dismissiveness. They started looking at themselves with profound awe and wonder, asking, how can I be an amazing steward of these incredible gifts I've been entrusted with? And from that resonant state of appreciation and humility, they literally co-created world-changing inventions, earth-shattering philosophies, culture-shifting artistic expressions, and more. Not because of their arrogant self-aggrandizement, but because they recognized the sacred duty to maximize their potential through consistent, humble self-appreciation. My friends, that same opportunity is available to you. There is no special formula or genetic superiority that allowed those individuals to tap into that powerful synergy. You have just as much access to humbly appreciate and maximize your own divine talents and abilities. All it takes is that conscious decision today to trade arrogant self-dismissal for authentic humility rooted in wholehearted self-appreciation. I know it can feel deeply uncomfortable or unnatural at first to fully honor and nurture your gifts, especially if you've spent years downplaying them or living in insecurity about your skills and potential. It can feel almost egotistical to start amplifying self-appreciation after so much time stuck in patterns of self-doubt and self-criticism. But I'm here to remind you that operating from that place of radical self-love and appreciation is always the truest path of humility, of honoring the divine wisdom that intentionally encoded your talents inside you for a special purpose, of celebrating rather than dismissing the miracle of your own existence and the gifts you've been blessed with. The arrogance is rooted in denying your talents and handicapping yourself from accessing the fullest version of your human potential. Humility resides in your willingness to consistently steward and nurture those talents through intentional practice of daily self-appreciation. So please, I urge you, choose humility from this day forward. Stop arrogantly dismissing yourself as anything less than the amazing, talented, gifted individual you were divinely designed to be. Get out of your own way and surrender to the truth that you are incredibly blessed with limitless creative potential. And then make the courageous, humble commitment to nurture and honor that potential by being in a perpetual state of self-appreciation for the talents you've been entrusted with. Recognize and celebrate the miracle of your abilities. Spend time in awe of all the reasons you are extraordinarily gifted, and let that humble self-appreciation be the catalyst for expressing your highest expression in this life. When you reside in that state of authentic, appreciative humility towards your skills and potential, you align yourself with the same infinite wisdom that created you, and from that resonant place, you become almost superhuman in your ability to create, innovate, inspire, and impact the world around you. So today, make the choice to step into that highest version of yourself, rooted in humility and consistent self-appreciation. Strip away all the layers of arrogance, self-dismissal, and insecurity you've accumulated over the years, and approach yourself and your talents with the same childlike awe and wonder you once had before doubts and criticisms took hold. Look at your abilities and be humbly amazed at the magic that conspired to bless you with those incredible gifts. And then fully appreciate and nurture those talents out of a place of deep reverence for the sacred wisdom that created them within you. Do that, and you'll experience indescribable fulfillment, achievement, and creative expansion in catalyzing your greatest human potential. The choice to anchor in humble self-appreciation unlocks dimensions of energy, genius, and wisdom that will astound you. All that's required is your willingness to finally celebrate and honor the brilliant masterpiece of talents you've been blessed with without arrogance or self-dismissal any longer.